super real.
Hey, I'm Julian Morgans, and you're listening to What It Was Like, the show that asks people who have lived through big, dramatic events what it was like. You know, every week I do this introduction, and I'm always trying to make the story relevant and timely. Like I'm trying to tie in the story with something that's happening in the news or something that's happening to me personally. But with this episode, I'm not even going to try. There is absolutely nothing timely or newsworthy about what you're about to hear. But I will say this. This story, it's incredible. It's just got so many funny moments and so many twists where you're going to be like, wait, what? And then it gets really sad, and then somehow it gets really positive and happy again at the end. It's this wild, weird, funny roller coaster ride with this perfect narrative arc, and you are going to love it. Okay, I don't think I could pump this thing up anymore if I tried, so I'm not going to do any more talking. I'm not going to spoil anything about the plot. All you need to know is that this story happened in a small Australian country town called Shepparton. It's about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours north of Melbourne. So I drove up there to meet the protagonist, a guy named Laurence Hearn. All right, let's do it. Here is Laurence. Laurence, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here. So let's set the scene a little. This all happened in 2014, right? What was just give me like a bit of context. What was happening in your life in 2014?
I'd broken up with the person I was seeing. So being the toxic masculine man I was just going out drinking all the time.
Yep.
Hanging out with friends and things.
Just a real romantic, like a sensitive new age kind of guy.
Just completely different.
Yeah.
Had recently gone through like a job sort of shift and change anyway, so wasn't really up to too much. Ended up being out one night, met some mature age ladies on a girls' weekend.
Set the scene for me. Like, what were they doing, and how did you end up talking?
So we were out at a local club sort of thing, and me being the bit of a sensitive man and things, and just having a conversation, almost similar to what we are now, just talking, getting to learn about people and those ladies. And then a few months later, one of them actually found me on Facebook.
Wait, so you made a bit of an impression?
Yeah, apparently. And I thought, oh, well, that was just a nice conversation, good night, a couple of weeks ago. Nothing happened, no cheeky pash on the dance floor or anything.
This person, this woman, it becomes sort of significant in their story. So can you, we don't want to identify her, but, just give me a sense of like what you guys talked about. Or
So she was a business professional in Melbourne, working, corporate, absolutely stunning woman, dolled up to the nines in heels, nice dress, long hair, gorgeous face, and good conversationalist, which I think not a lot of people generally have the time of day for when you're 18, 19 years old, bloke in a country town at a pub on a Friday or Saturday night or whatever it was.
And she was a bit older, right?
She was significantly older. So I think she was 39 or 38 at the time when we met. And I hadn't even hit my 20s yet. So obviously...
you were on fire though.
Yeah.
Were the friends pretty stern about it? They're like, hey, buddy.
They were like, hey, she's married, back off, mate. And you just don't throw a challenge like that out to a young bloke in a pub. Yeah.
So when you got this friend request on Facebook, what was your response?
Oh, luckily I was in private because there was a few air punches and a bit of a, here we go. Just happy to have someone around, really.
Did you stalk her because you're on Facebook, right? For me, the first thing I'd have done is like, oh, let's have a look at his husband.
It was 100% like, as soon as you get any friend request or someone you think you may know or might suggest you know, you're like, I'm going to suss this out.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you went to primary school, high school, it's been 15 years or five weeks since you've seen them. You're going to have a stalk.
Okay. And what did you suss out about her world?
There wasn't a whole lot there. And I was like, well, she's married.
Yeah.
As bad as it is, I didn't really care. I was like, I'm single.
Yeah. You saw some like wedding photos on Facebook?
I think so, yeah.
So very...
And I was like, okay, like story confirmed. Her friends just weren't trying to get rid of me.
So very married.
Yeah. And obviously, like, it's not for me to say how her relationship was or this and that. It's got nothing to do with me or anyone else's life, essentially. You can only hold accountable your own decisions of what you do. So we sort of began this calling, texting, things like that. And it developed into an actual relationship. And it sort of went from there, you know, sneaky little weekend trips away. And I was living in Marupna, Shepparton area, as I grew up. And so it was kind of like, yeah, this sneak away for a weekend. I got plans, like go off grid for a bit.
What did you like about her?
It's going to sound so cliche, but the mature side.
Yeah.
Someone that's a good conversationalist. Like, just really, it's nice to be heard and to hear things.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and most people would, at the end of the day, they've got that one person they come home to and you go, oh, I can't wait to tell them about this little thing, and it might be so insignificant about a customer or something you saw or, you know, an idea for the house or something. So there was just good conversation, genuine connection and care, like really sort of gave a shit and I felt seen.
Yeah.
So we just went from there, developed into a thing.
And what do you think she liked about you?
I think it was also that conversation sort of side and sensitivity.
Sure.
Like having genuine interest, genuine care. Like it's not an empty conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, like, you know, you're putting time into someone or something, which I try to do in every aspect, whether it's a conversation with the checkout person when you're doing the groceries or if you're having, you know, a drunken conversation at 2 a.m. in a nightclub, which obviously left an impression.
Yeah.
So things developed from there and, yeah, it was blossoming into something real. It wasn't that sort of, you know, teenage sort of fling where you're hanging out with someone at a party and maybe going out, you know, for dinner or this and that. It was a very mature relationship of dinner, drinks, future, like elegant, sort of not just getting shit-faced and going back to someone's house.
Yeah. Did the subject of her marriage ever come up?
It was a point of contention, won't lie. Obviously, she was not happy in that, and there was things that obviously need to happen. You can't just turn around and cut off your life with someone and they had a child and things. And
there was a kid involved.
Yeah, which is obviously very touchy, and you want to do things the right way.
Yeah.
You don't just want to turn around and go, hey, I'm shacked up with some young bloke now.
Yeah.
They had obviously their own marital issues and things to deal with. That's got nothing to do with me. His life, nothing to do with me, obviously, and her life. All I knew that was when we spent time together, it was us. Just enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool.
Hence what leads us on to our next topic of the winery.
So I understand that one morning, you guys decided to go out to a winery.
Well, that's the thing. Wineries normally aren't open at night unless there's some sort of event, which is dangerous. Like deliciously dangerous because you're in the sun, it's the middle of the day, and I think that's why they're so, enticing because you're like, oh, it's an excuse to drink a bottle of wine at 10 in the morning because the winery shuts at 4.
Yeah. Okay, well, take me into this particular trip to the winery.
So it's a local winery out of like little home space, bit of a cheese board, you know, some fruit, some wine paddles, things like that.
Nice.
We'd had a few wines and got home, back to my place. So having a bit of a shindig sort of thing, middle of the day, world's your oyster. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, it seems like you're in a safe environment.
Yeah, the old Saturday morning sesh. So me being the prankster, sort of jovial character I am, always having a laugh, this and that. You know, and everyone loves a good jump scare. Like, it's just funny. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Wait, a jump scare?
Yeah, you know, like you hide in the cupboard or round the corner and call someone into the room and jump out and scare them. Or,
okay, that's a jump scare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I thought, gonna have a shower and get organised and things to go out to another bar or something or go out for lunch.
Yeah, sure.
So I thought, oh, this will be hilarious. I'll hide in the big top loader washing machine.
Okay.
You know, it's a big 7.5 kilo, 8 kilo. There's no agitator in the middle.
Okay.
Cannot stress that enough. There's no giant pole to wrap around.
Okay, right. So you had this idea for a prank and you go to her, hey, I'm
just going to get organised, babe. You know,
I'm just going to go have a shower.
Yeah. And thinking, she's going to come join me in the shower shortly anyway.
Did you tell her, hey, I'm going to go have a shower, come join me in 5?
I don't even think I asked her to come jump in the shower. I think that was just wishful thinking. So, yeah, climbed like up onto the sink and then put myself into the washing machine, like crisscross legs, climbed in and thought, I can't really get the lid to close down, but it's still open an inch or two. That'll be enough to jump out and scare her. Should have known how dumb it was because I didn't even have the shower running or anything.
And so you went completely naked?
Yeah, because I was about to... That is, yeah, maybe a bit of that wine brain was, this will be funny. Strip off. She'll see the clothes on the floor and be like, where the hell is he? And climbed into the washing machine.
Like, I'm like putting my knees up here, but you sort of like your knees up and you sort of insert yourself
almost like
in
you're doing a bomb.
Okay.
Only not into water, just into a giant metal basket.
Okay, all right. And you didn't need to like lube yourself up with any soap or anything. You just straight in.
Hindsight, I really should have.
Okay, all right.
You always forget the basics when you've been to a winery in the morning.
Was this uncomfortable? Was it immediately uncomfortable?
It was uncomfortable because it was so hot. It was the middle of summer, like probably a 38-degree day. All I think I had in the house was fans, like no split system, no aircon. So I climbed in, thought, I'll spring open and huzzah, it's all fun and games. I climb out, have a shower, we continue on with our day at the hilarity of a jump scare.
Yeah.
It did not plan that way.
Okay.
It was planned that way. It did not go that way.
What happened?
It got in there fine. Like I said, like legs up, sort of crisscrossed.
And this is a top loader, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your head's sticking out the top?
Yeah, hanging out the top, like probably from like the shoulders sort of up, because I did have my arms crossed and sort of tucked in to just my little noggin hanging out a bit. And then I was like, sort of went to move and sort of shuffle myself and thought, I'm a little bit stuck here. I don't know. There's not a lot of room for maneuverability in this thing, which I don't know why it isn't a design spec. I'm going to put that down to the company as a flaw.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
If you climb in?
Design better.
Really hard to get out. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So did you start to panic or were you like, I'll scare her first?
And I was like, I'll scare her and then climb out.
Then I'll figure it out later.
Called her in and she obviously hilariously just burst into like tears, laughter, like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you in the washing machine? Your clothes are right there next to it. Like, why are you naked? What are you doing? Oh my God, this young, drunk, fool of a man. And then, so I tried to sort of rearrange it. I was like, all right, help me out now.
All right,
and then
it's enough fun and games.
Yeah, we had a good chuckle and ha ha ha. And then I was like, all right, help me out. And couldn't really move my legs or position. I was like, a little bit jammed. That's all right. We'll shuffle around. Like,
could you get your arms up or your shoulders?
I had my arms up from my shoulders upwards. But my legs had sort of locked into place, like from my hips because I was crisscross. So they were almost like just wedged under the bucket, and I couldn't move my legs. Sort of thing.
And just to reiterate, there's no agitator here.
No agitator. Okay. No.
All right. So you're just stuck in this drum.
Yeah, just stuck in a barrel.
Okay.
Essentially.
What,
yeah.
So were you starting to freak out a bit?
So obviously panic set in a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's hot, quite a bit drunk. Obviously not thinking rashly, stuck in an awkward place / position. Like, it's bad enough if, you go down a tunnel or you're in a tent or something and you're trapped in one spot. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's hard to rationalize and just think logically when you're sort of that panic mode, like, and the adrenaline starts to pump in.
Yeah.
And so I was sweating bullets. Like, it was so hot. I was so uncomfortable. My joints were locking up. And I was like, oh, I'm stuck. You're going to have to help me.
Oh,
she
man.
was like a very fit like woman as well, like exercise and classes and this and that. And she couldn't even grab me from the arms and lift me out because my legs were locked.
Like you just weren't moving.
Just could not get up and enough to get out. So after about, I'd say 25 minutes, 35 minutes, I was like, look, I think we're going to need to like, let's outsource this. Let's find someone that we could maybe call. I was like, well, my family's all at footy, local footy. My brother played. My dad was away. Everyone's away. There's not really people we can call on.
Yeah. I mean, you want to keep this
certainly
private.
Also trying to keep it a bit private and being like, hey, I'm here having this extramarital affair with this person from out of town and I'm stuck in a washing machine. Like, you can't really throw that in an SMS and you don't really want to throw it in a voice message either.
You do not want that in writing.
You do not want any recording of that.
No.
Going, no, this is it.
So this whole time, imagine that your sense of claustrophobia and panic was escalating while this woman's... She must have been just laughing. She must have thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
She thought it was hilarious. And then she saw the panic and fear in my eyes.
Yeah.
And she thought, I've never seen this from this man. He's in trouble.
Talk to me about that claustrophobia. Like, was it
like,
bad?
I'm not really claustrophobic. I think everyone expects freedom to move and do what they want. Like, you don't want to be in someone's house, you leave. It's the restriction of not being able to do what you want when you want to do it. So being trapped in that space is just, it starts to send you into a panic. Like, even talking about it now, I'm like, remembering it, it's like trapped in that space. It was just absolute hell. So I have a friend, and I would say friend at the time, probably loosely. He was an associate that I knew worked in the fire brigade. And I was like, call Luke. He'll have some sort of logic and idea. You know, he's been in the fireys forever. Yeah. They probably deal with this stuff all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Oh, we got another one.
Yeah. It's a code 7.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's probably renamed Code Laurence or something now. They're like, we got a full stuck in a white good appliance.
Yeah.
And he's like, mate, like, I don't have any answers. He's like, my best thing would be either call the SES or the fire brigade, and you're just going to have to explain to it and let it know. And I was like, we'll figure it out before it gets to that point.
Yeah.
Did not figure it out. Did not figure it out. Another 20 minutes went by and I was like, you get that damn 000 on the phone. I was like, you call these people, I don't care who they have to bring in.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. All right. So did you make the call or did you...
I think I got her to make it because, and also I was like peak drunk now because it had all kicked in. All the wine, all the sweating, all the panic just exacerbated the situation.
I mean, I have to ask, like, did you just piss in the bottom of the...
No. No, I've been good. I've been piss free since 2003, so not had any accidents.
Because after
2023,
after a big morning of drinking at the winery, you'd be forgiven for needing desperately to piss.
Yeah, it's something I've never been into. Sorry, it's not wetting myself.
Okay, that's fair.
Put it on a resume. It's
again, you're this civilized guy who's got a washing machine at the age of 19.
Sophisticated.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So you call the fire brigade?
Yeah. So obviously they find it hilarious as well and go, yeah, we'll be out.
And this is like local guys that you probably know.
That I know, having worked in hospitality. They're guys that I've served at the pub, people I went to school with that I know from the local footy club.
Oh.
And obviously it just goes out over the bandwidth that they're taking a call in a local residence, blah, blah, blah. And this is what the situation is. So, like I said, it's hilarious whether you are a child up to a 50, 60-year-old man. You're like, oh, I've been in the fireys 25 years. This is the best one yet. So I had that many people turn up to my house, like police, firefighters, ambulance, SES guys. There was only, I would say, half a dozen that actually helped.
So how many...
try and brainstorm and be like, what are we going to do? Like, let's lube him up. Let's try and...
How many people showed up at a guess?
I would say probably close to 30.
What?
Some of them were just volunteers that weren't even on duty. They just heard it on their scanner and went, oh, that's round the corner. That's fucking hilarious. I need to go and see this. Thank God for not the rise of, Instagram Live and social media at that time. Yeah. It was still a few years off because I don't know if I would have survived if someone is just on their Instagram Live just like streaming the whole thing. I'd be like, just let me die in here.
Yeah.
If that had been a thing.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to take a quick ad break here, but please stick around because you'll find out how even the fire brigade struggle to get people out of washing machines.
So they were there, I'd say maybe an hour and a half of me just stuck in this tiny little drum.
Washing machine.
Washing machine and going, all right, so how are we going to do this? What are we going to do? I was like, I know you've got the big like Jaws of Life saw. Just go and cut the thing down the middle. I don't give a shit about like this $1,000 white goods appliance. Just get me out. But at least let me put my hand in front and protect the other little drummer boy.
Okay, sure.
I was like, cut it open. I don't care. They're like, nut the sparks. And obviously close to your body, we can't do this. We're going to have to sort of dismantle it. So they sort of just...
Like screwdrivers and stuff.
Yeah.
And
that'd be the most logical thing of take it apart like that instead of just smashing it with a hammer on the side, which was their logic.
Is that what they tried to do?
Essentially, yeah. It was just like, okay, twist it, sort of walk it out. With me still inside, which obviously adds an extra few kilos. Like, white goods are heavy enough as they are. Have you ever tried to load one of them into the back of your ute or something by yourself without a trolley? And
yeah. No.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, really heavy.
So, sort of wheeled it out, tipped it on its side and broke it open enough for the drum sort of to be exposed and no encasing around it and sort of just slid out the side.
And you slid out?
Yeah, because we had tried to put olive oil, shampoo, lube, went through every cupboard and
every
thing I had.
Lubricant you could find.
Yeah, so it just sort of slid out again. Like I put it to almost similar to, in Harry Potter when Voldemort comes out as that slimy little baby thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was essentially me.
So this was like a second birth.
Yeah. I mean, the first one was pretty rough from what I've heard, but...
Yeah. But you don't remember that one.
Yeah.
But the moment where you just were birthed naked and screaming, covered in all this goop.
Oh, well, no one said any screaming. Machine. There was no crying. There was tears of joy, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the worst part, the entire time, they wouldn't give me a beer or anything either. They're like, no, you're having a panic attack. It's quite normal. I was like, I'm not. I'm just going through alcohol withdrawals.
Why not? Why wouldn't they just give you a beer?
Apparently drinking alcohol in a dangerous situation makes it more dangerous. I don't know.
Is this part of like the fire brigade manual of how to fire brigade? Yeah.
How to fire brigade. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone have a beer and then start putting this house out.
That's right.
We got to loosen up.
So when they got you out, was there like a round of applause?
There was a few cheers and stuff. But like I said, there was only probably half a dozen people that actually helped. And the other probably 25 were just standing there like, ha.
Just taking photos.
What an idiot. Yeah. I'm sure there's probably people out there that do have photos.
Yeah, I'm sure. So when you slithered out of this washing machine, what was your girlfriend's response?
Probably reprieve, but also there was a lot of panic of like, don't take photos. Obviously, my statement's not going to get published because we had to keep all that.
Oh, because she's
secret.
Freaking out about her religion.
She's like, out of all the things, like there's some sort of issue or this and that. Like, oh, I'm meant to be away in another state doing a girls' trip for this hidden agenda. But turns out, she's actually obviously there spending time with me.
Ugh. So all these guys that are taking photos, fireys with their little 2014 phones.
Nokia 3310s.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that.
Taking
It wasn't that
photos.
long ago.
Was she trying to shut it down? She's like, no photos, no
She
photos.
was a bit like that, which is fair. I was like that. I was like numb from the sort of chest down and naked. I was like, can we not photograph this? Or at least get the good angles? Let me roll over. Like,
Yeah, right.
yeah. So it was kind of like, okay, it's done, it's dusted. It's something hilarious that they can go and tell their mates, or we went out to this job today.
And then did you guys kick everyone out, or how did
Essentially, it was like, oh, he's safe. He doesn't need, medical attention, blah, blah, blah. Just keep up the fluids. Don't go to another winery this afternoon. And like, yeah, we need to try and hush it. It was more so for the sake of shielding her relationship. Because as I said, like, you have to go about these things in the right way. Yeah. No one likes being hurt and rejected, or that, oh, something's coming to an end, no matter how good or bad it is. So it was very, like, let's keep this under wraps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sort of thing, like, as quiet as possible. And we're like, oh, it's just going to be localized. It's not obviously going to make airwaves or the project or every news outlet across the country / globe of like this thing.
Well, when you say it's not going to be, it's only going to be localized, like reporters hit you up, or like what were you thinking about?
That's what I figured. I was like, oh, it'll be localized as in the firefighters and like SES guys will be like, oh man, we had this crazy job the other day. Okay. And maybe hear about it through the grapevine over the next couple of months at like pubs or
this is what you told
bars.
Yourself about like the nature of your story. It wouldn't get very far. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Like, it's not like massive news.
Yeah.
But
it's funny, but it's
hilarious.
It's not that funny. Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't see it as hilarious. I automatically saw it as like, I was like, oh, this is damaging. A lot of people were laughing at me, not with me.
And so this is all to say that the story leaked fairly quickly.
Surprisingly quickly.
Like, what was the first indication that you got that it had been taken up by the news cycle?
I reckon it was only a few hours later, I'd say several hours later, that I had a young journalist from the local Shep News calling me and messaging me. And I'm a pretty private person. Like, being out in public is one thing, but then no one knows sort of about the home life. And, I am a pretty sensitive guy, Legos, plants, designing stuff, having a nice home, comfortable space, having soup in winter on the couch, and just very low key and chilled out. Yeah. But obviously people form those public perceptions of what they see in public. So they see a guy that can drink a lot and was pretty wild.
Sure.
So everyone just thought, oh, it's another thing.
Okay, right.
And yeah, getting that sort of phone call and text message going like, oh, we want to interview you for this thing, with not even 24 hours later. And I was like, oh, okay, like, must be a slow news week. And obviously I know they have scanners and they hear things over the airwaves anyway. So I went, oh, yep, okay, sort of thing. But then snippets got taken and words got twisted and things were cut and edited together.
Right.
And then it was, oh, hi, I'm trying to contact blah, blah, blah. Hi, I'm trying to contact Laurence. And it went from different outlet to different outlet.
So you were getting all sorts of phone calls, emails.
All day, all night. Just to the point of like almost annoyance.
Were you excited at first? Was there a part of you?
I don't think I was excited about any of it whatsoever. It was a real embarrassment and shame.
Okay, sure.
Of like, oh, I've messed up and done a drunken thing.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get my life on track for months and months before this, or years before this.
Sure.
And then there's been one little thing, and now it's like, oh, you're on public display.
And now it's snowballing.
Yeah. And there was no like monetary incentive. There was nothing like that. And people go, oh, you must be rolling in cash, and oh, you think you're fancy and you're better than us because you. And I went, there's been no money changed hands. There's been no paid me for a picture or paid me for a story or my opinion or thoughts.
And this lasted, would you say that the sort of apex of it lasted like a week or so?
I would say probably 2 months.
2 months?
2 months or 3 months. Because like I said, I'm not a out there guy, especially when that happened. And I was in between jobs. So it's not like I was going out every weekend and living my life out and about either. So it had quite a negative effect. I would still say, even to this day, it's quite negative.
Okay.
Obviously, my mental health, it really suffered.
Sure.
And also trying to be a professional and, you know, find work and go, hey, you know, like, this is my skill set. This is the stuff I can do. And I think I'd be an asset to your business. Yeah. All of a sudden, quick Google search, haha, you're the laughing stock.
Right.
So it really undermined, like, my career and things like that. And it was a really big struggle.
Was there anything positive that came from it in that period?
I mean, that relationship still kept going.
Yep.
After that.
Yep. How was your girlfriend handling the storm?
It was very tough, obviously, on her. And some of the footage that someone took that day actually showed her car with the number plate and everything. Talk
me through this. This is significant.
News. I think it was on Win News or something.
Okay.
Of a little snippet of footage of outside the man's unit that got stuck in the washing machine. And she had a customized BMW.
Distinctive.
Very distinctive. Not just like, oh, there's a Toyota in the driveway or a Camry or something. It was like, no, like a very distinctive BMW that she was known for in Melbourne. And especially showing the number plate and things, like, which I think that's pretty journalism 101. If someone says, hey, I don't want too much public in this and that, and then they just go and do it anyway.
Yeah.
So obviously if it's on the 5 o'clock news, then the 6 o'clock news, and it's rolling like that for weeks. And then all of a sudden it's like, hold on, that car's in my driveway. That's my wife. Like,
oh, is this what happened?
And then obviously it came to a head of, I know you were there. There's footage on national news of your car in this bloke's driveway. You said you're at so-and-so's place. Bang. I've got you, like, in the corner now. So...
Oh, so this is what the husband... So the husband watched the nightly news, saw the number plate, and accused the wife.
I reckon Stevie Wonder would have seen it.
Okay,
like,
right.
That's how out there it was.
Okay, sure. So, oh, shit. So what was the first that you heard about this? Did she call you up?
Yeah, so we had a conversation. She was like, look, blah, blah, blah. And then when I was on the phone with her, I keep getting these calls over and over the same number. And I'm coming to Shepparton. I'm going to kill you.
Oh, man.
You better be on the run, rah, rah. I was like, well, you've seen the news. You know where my house is. Like, it is what it is. It's the situation. I'm not going to have a confrontation or a fight with a grown man over something or the situation it is.
Did you try to downplay it or apologize? Or were you just like, oh, bring it on? I took on a washing machine. I can handle you.
I think for a while it was like, look, mate, whatever. I was like, it is what it is. You have to deal with this emotional stuff on your own.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point and a few things, and he was becoming quite abusive to her. And then eventually it was like, look, mate, obviously you're not fulfilling things. You need to turn inwards and look on yourself.
Okay, this is what you said.
If you were a better person, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
You know, throw a bit of the sting back out there. Like, distinctly, I remember I was at my parents' for dinner one day, and this bloke kept going, and my older brother got frustrated with my phone just going off. So he grabbed it and he goes, is this that husband that keeps calling? And I went, yeah. So he goes, give it here. Snatched my phone, answered it. And he goes, listen here, obviously my brother's fucking your wife. If you can't figure it out, either come down here and try and fight and I'll cave your head in, or piss off and stop calling. And he didn't really call after that. I think he realised there was a few people around that were like, hey, leave this guy alone.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, look, you need to do stuff in the correct manner.
Did you feel sorry for him?
No, not at all. I tried to pause for like effect and be like, no, I really regret my decision. No.
Why didn't you feel sorry for him?
From dealing with him over the phone, which I understand is a very emotional frustrated and angry thing. But from what I heard and what I saw and things, he was an asshole.
Right.
Like, just plain and simple, he was not a good husband. He was not a good man. And you know what? Don't wish any ill will towards him at all. I think whatever their relationship was didn't work for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And all the best to him. As long as he's, everyone's happy, safe, enjoying life without hurting anyone else. That's essentially really what it comes down to.
Yeah, yeah.
But it'd be very different if obviously I was married and she was married and we were being very sneaky and things.
Yeah.
I'd feel absolutely terrible and disgusted in myself, but I didn't make any vows.
Yeah.
It was a very turbulent time in my life. And also finding myself and dealing with mental health and I met her when I was in the very lows of a point.
Yeah.
So, and I'll always love and respect her for that she pulled me out of that and still supported me.
Yeah, nice.
And said, you need to get out of this town and really, have a fresh start. And that's what got me down to Melbourne.
Hey, it's time for another ad break, but please stay with us. When we're back, Laurence explains how somehow he ended up feeling grateful that he got stuck in a washing machine and everything turned out well. So you left Shepparton?
Yeah, to the point, it was that bad.
It was that bad?
Yeah, couldn't get a job anywhere for people just laughing at me.
Shit, man.
Couldn't do groceries, couldn't generally do anything with life.
Yeah, right.
Down to the basics.
Okay.
Of, going in and buying bread and milk and it's So it was very, very public.
Yeah.
Like I said, very exploitive.
This sounds grueling.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely took a toll.
And do you know what happened? So your girlfriend and her husband, did they stay together or do you know anything about that?
I know they were, obviously it came out. So I think that was a bit of the push to go, no, I am divorcing you now.
She divorced him?
Yeah.
Okay.
And said, look, I deserve better and I'm not going to deal with this anymore. Probably saved her a bit of the hard conversation to bring up or forced the hard conversation to happen.
Yeah.
She helped me out with getting to Melbourne and set me up with one of her previous colleagues that had a room to rent.
No way.
In the area and things, because I'd had job offers in Melbourne previously and I was always too scared and too shy and what if I fall and, I don't want to upset anyone of failing and things. So she really helped me with that positivity of taking it on the chin, getting on with life, put me into a new situation, a new environment, and really supported me.
She sounds like a bit of a guardian angel.
Yeah. Look, she was absolutely amazing. We still kept in contact after things sort of split.
Are you guys still in touch now?
No, not for many years. She moved on with her life and I moved on with mine.
Yeah.
But even then, we still caught up a couple of times after we'd split in Melbourne. And it was just a general, hey, you really gave me the push to divorce him and helped me see the value in myself. And I said, well, you saved me by pushing me to my best potential as well, of getting into higher end food, nice cafes, the Melbourne scene of food. And, well, yeah, ultimately changed my life in the positive of a new town, a new environment, more lucrative career aspects. Like, if I had have stayed in Shepparton, I would either be dead or in jail.
Yeah, right.
Just the things I was falling into, the alcohol abuse. I'd never been into substances or anything. But I know that I probably would have gone down that path had I stayed in the area to just really try and escape reality, essentially, especially if I couldn't get work and things like that. I'm a very outgoing, hardworking person.
Yep.
And I think to be a chef, you kind of really need to go above and beyond and really care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And even like every time you fail, you keep trying, you go through, it's a tough environment to work in and stuff. And then you have a tough environment at home as well. It can be very, very disruptive.
So in some ways, in a very roundabout way, getting stuck in that washing machine was one of the best choices you made.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, probably. I've still not been out to that winery though, even though, like I said, my friend works there now, and he goes, "Do you reckon they'd remember you?" I said, "I don't think they'd remember some young guy." I said, "They probably thought I was out there with my mum."
Yeah, right.
Like, we were going to have a joint 21st and 40th. Like, that's...
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't decide if this story is like a comedy or a tragedy or a strange hybrid of both, because it ends positively, but then there's that sad bit in the middle. I mean, how do you feel about it these days when you reflect?
I think I learned to deal with it regardless, because it did come out when I was in places in Melbourne and talking with people, and they go, "Oh, this new head chef," or this and that, and obviously social media had developed by then.
Yeah.
So there was ebbs and flows of it, of positivity and negativity.
Yeah.
Some people saw it when I was like in bars and stuff, and they go, "Hey, we heard a thing about you." And they go, "Hilarious, mate. At that time in the world, there was a lot of negativity. I'll buy you a beer."
Yeah.
And then there was other people who were like, "Haha, you're so dumb. Why would you do this?" Rah, rah, and have these ideals and opinions. And I go, "That's great. That's your opinion."
Yeah.
I don't sort of let it sort of kick me down or take me down a peg anymore.
Yeah.
It's sort of, I think that's just growing up.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Like, being a young man at the time, like I said, like, I was 19.
Yeah, when you're 19,
when it happened,
like
19,
like
20,
other people's
like,
opinions of you are really important.
Oh, it feels very personal.
Yeah.
And you're going, "Oh, that random bloke down the street that's got 3 teeth pointed at me and laughed."
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And then you see him now and you go,
and you're like, I don't know.
Good for him for leaving the house today. Like, it comes in full circle.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So,
yeah.
just, I don't know, it is. I choose to look at it as a positive story.
Yeah. I mean, you've come back to Shepparton. Like, given that it's right now and we're back in Shepparton, I'd say it's probably the 10-year anniversary of this going down. But you're back here. You live here again. Oh. So in some ways, you moved to Melbourne
the irony?
Came past it?
I live about 3 or 4 houses down from where the whole incident happened. And I'm full circle.
Yeah.
Same street.
It's very full circle. Okay, all right. So 2 last questions here. What'd you learn about media attention?
Obviously, be careful of what you say is obviously probably number one. We see it all the time with obviously things being edited, things like that. But if you're a genuine person and you have genuine ideals and things like that, and you're out there to really just be positive, obviously be careful about what you say, but just be genuine. Be a decent person. It might make someone's whole day for just the nicest little thing, and it could really change someone's life.
Yeah. No, I think that's well put. What is your relationship like with washing machines these days? When you go,
I don't mind doing the washing. It's hanging it out that's the pain.
You never get the shivers if you're like loading your clothes in and you peer into the barrel.
You
and
just
you're
hear that. Well, like when you do like that big load of washing of like the sheets and stuff, and they all tangle up, and you hear that. Oh, just PTSD.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm coming back from Nam. The eyes start going in the back of the head on the couch. I'm going, "Oh, it's happening again. Someone hold me. Don't hold me. It's restricting." No, I don't mind. I'm just very careful on what machine I buy now. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I would like to say I'll never get in a washing machine again, but again, you never know.
You never know.
Yeah. It could just be the right time to do it properly. Like,
for the right woman, you would get in a washing machine.
I'd like to make a mistake at least 3 to 17 times just to make sure, because that's science. You need to keep You need to keep doing the same experiment and see if the results are all the same.
You just need to peer review it with like future versions of yourself.
I'll invite people over next time I go to do it and be like, yeah, peer review me. Be like, yeah, he's trapped again. This is the third time. God.
Oh, man. Lawrence, this has been unbelievable. This is one of the wackiest stories that I've ever heard. And I can't thank you enough.
Wackiest story so far.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Watch, I might have to go out for a drink tonight and go, man, I can top this.
Tumble dry. But yeah, thanks so much for telling the story. It's been hilarious.
Thank you.
And insightful. Today's episode was produced by Rachel Tuffery. It was mixed by Jimmy Saunders, who also did our theme music. Our cover art is by Naomi Lee Beveridge, and this whole thing has been a Super Real production.
Renew your health and wellness purpose this new year with The Reset on Alo Moves, a curated weekly program of Pilates, strength, and step goals to kickstart your fitness journey. It's a 30-day week-by-week program, 3 days of Pilates, 2 days of strength, and 8,000 daily steps, plus bonus nutrition tips from Sakara. Plus, for only $99, you get a year's worth of access to Alo Moves, on-demand, full studio experience wherever you are. Get moving today at alomoves.com.